So late last night, The Verge published an article titled "We Played Valve's Secret New Shooter Deadlock." Now, for those that don't know, Deadlock isn't exactly a secret. Its existence was leaked 3 months ago, and the game is currently being beta tested, and its Steam DB page is publicly available, showing that it has over 20,000 concurrent players. Now, journalist Sean Hollister received a general invite to the beta. This is an important distinction to make. This invite did not come from Valve. And notice that he did not have to sign an NDA to access it and didn't have to click through an end user license agreement. He simply ignored the pop-up that asked players to not share anything about the game. He then proceeded to write an entire article about it and upload a 24-minute gameplay video before Valve banned his account. And fans appear to be outraged by what they claim is a breach of trust. Legacy Killer HD tweets, "Very cool," of all the journalists rallying around unprofessionalism, also hiding replies and criticism. When a YouTuber does it, condemnation. What journalistic value does this provide when Valve made you agree to the below text before playing? Now, fellow journalists are defending The Verge's right to publish information since there was not an NDA nor a formal agreement with Valve. And I'm here to say that if you're a fan upset about this, you are right. And equally very, very wrong, and don't even understand why that is. So let me take some time to break this all down so we understand the dangerous precedent fans are asking to be set by what they believe is a professional approach to news. And I also want to address this whole "they did it for the clicks" angle. Now, this backlash instantly reminded me of the Insomniac leak that happened about 7 months ago. Fans felt that journalists should respect developers' wishes even when they are not legally obligated to. Now, the first thing we need to acknowledge is that The Verge does not work for Valve. Not only do they have zero obligation to protect Valve's marketing rollout for a pretty easily accessible game that they chose not to formally announce, but guess what? You wouldn't want to live in a world where a media outlet operated that way. You as a reader should acknowledge an outlet that truly runs as an independent and doesn't allow the decisions to publish an article be swayed by how that article's publication will affect a company's marketing rollout. Imagine an outlet withholding a negative story against the company because they worry how it will impact that company's standing in the public eye. It's a precedent that is all or nothing. And you think that The Verge respecting Valve's, "Hey, please don't share this" pop-up is professionalism, but beholding yourself to the whims of a publisher would actually be more unprofessional and would not serve the public good, which is who journalists are supposed to serve. You shouldn't blame The Verge. You should actually blame Valve. Their beta test is open. Anyone that is currently playing can send an invite to anyone they want. It is Valve's responsibility to ensure that anyone accessing the game is forced to sign an NDA. That is a failure on their part. There are currently 12,000 members in the Deadlock subreddit. There is a mega thread where players can openly ask for invites, and the Reddit is filled with people talking about the game. If you go to YouTube right now, you can find a ton of video footage of the game, including this 55-minute video showcasing all heroes and abilities. It's been up for 2 months. It has over 187,000 views. That YouTube creator has uploaded 22 Deadlock videos, including one just a day ago, which means they still have access to the game, and Valve clearly doesn't care if people break this so-called gentleman's agreement. So quick side note. Stop being upset for companies over something that they clearly aren't enforcing themselves. Don't work for free, boys and girls. Now, I'll be honest. If I ran a publication, I probably would not have published a story because of the risk of being blacklisted. This may come back to bite The Verge in the ass when invites start going out to outlets to flag in and check out the next Steam Deck. But let me tell you something. This is what you want from an outlet, whether you know it or not. Do you really want to trust an outlet that would withhold a story out of fear they will be blacklisted? You guys are begging for The Verge to be blacklisted, but don't truly understand the ramifications of asking for something like that. Gaming journalism doesn't work if websites are beholden to publishers. They're supposed to work for you. They are not mouthpieces for companies. They're not supposed to protect the company's marketing rollout. This game leaked 3 months ago. Valve should have already acknowledged its existence, and it's obvious that you guys are more concerned with protecting this horribly kept secret than they are. And yes, there is a level of respect that journalists should uphold when it comes to private information. But expecting journalists to preemptively protect a company's information when that company didn't put any protections in place is a big old gray area. There's also this angle of The Verge did this for clicks. And I have to admit, even I at one point thought this way. I definitely still feel this way for leakers. They really only do it for engagement. But is that what's really happening here? Do you guys think that writing for a game website is a lucrative profession? Do you think Sean Hollister has an MBA-style signing bonus that grants him an extra $50K if his article generates 1 million views? That's not how this works. Writers don't do this for money. There's more risk than reward involved when publishing an article like this. And look, let's be honest with ourselves here. Journalists are the boogeymen. They're an easy target to point to because you guys can't wait to pounce on what you see as incompetence when your incessant need to be upset at the topic of the day blinds you from understanding the journalists you are asking for are not the journalists you want to deliver the news to you. And the reason why is because you guys can't take 5 minutes to digest something. A piece of news happens, your Twitter algorithm tells you how you're supposed to feel about it, and you just regurgitate that half-baked take without asking yourself, how do I feel about this? You guys are trapped in a human centipede running on a treadmill, and when you get a taste of shit, you just blindly trust that that was the best thing the guy at the front of the line could pass through. None of you think for yourselves anymore, and it drives me insane. And you also lack any nuance when discussing a subject because two things can be right. Check out how easy this is. Yeah, I think greater care could have been taken with the story. If this was me, I wouldn't have published it, and I definitely wouldn't have uploaded a 24-minute video on it. But at the same time, I can acknowledge reality as it's presented to me. The Verge had every right to do that because Valve didn't protect their information. And begging for them to be blacklisted is Pandora's box. Should we be also okay with publishers blacklisting outlets for bad reviews or not so enthusiastic previews? And look, I've worked for a publisher. Leaks really suck and they hurt. But if I went on a plane and started playtesting the next Zelda game and a content creator snapped a video of it, I'm at fault, not them. There wasn't a breach. That result was of my own creation. And look, I want to end this with what appears to be a line that fans think separates leakers from journalists. Remember how I said earlier that Deadlock's existence leaked 3 months ago? Well, that original leak came from Gabe Fowler, a prominent Valve leaker, and he had this to say about The Verge's article. Quote, and then they're saying that independent creators do anything for views at Tom Warren. Now, quick side note, Tom Warren is a senior editor at The Verge, but he did not write the article. If you're a journalist, at least spend 30 seconds and ask devs in official Discord, which I found to be incredibly insane. So you, the original leaker of this project, the one who decided that Valve was taking too long to reveal this game's existence, so you decided to go ahead and do it, are imploring that The Verge should have, out of respect, contacted the developers before writing that article. And there were tons of people agreeing in his comments that for some reason, even though neither of these parties signed NDAs or entered into a formal agreement with Valve, The Verge was wrong for what they did. So the argument here is that journalists should be held to a higher standard than leakers, people who share completely private, unknown information purely for engagement and rarely ever consider their impact on developers nor question whether the public needs to know said information. That is classic pot meets kettle. And I want to ensure that I don't say that to defend journalists. I think if there's one thing we can agree on is leak culture in video games has gotten way out of hand. And journalists such as Tom Warren are actually part of that blame because a lot of the times when they leak information, it only serves themselves and not the public good. Tom Warren started a section called Notepad and has been placing leaks behind a paywall which no one needs to know, such as claiming Xbox is considering not marketing consoles anymore in the EMEA, a rumor he decided to share after getting a tip from a single source. That to me doesn't serve the public good. That to me is kind of unprofessional, and it's hard to not paint it as self-serving when it's hidden behind a paywall. So in conclusion, a couple things. Number one, stop being so damn thirsty for information and just wait until developers are ready to share their work. Number two, leakers are even more unprofessional than journalists, and just because they aren't chained to a desk doesn't automatically absolve them from criticism that they should also respect someone else's work, because they found out a group of people were working on something for years and then decided, hey, you know that rush of adrenaline you get before you publish an announcement for something you've been working on tirelessly for years, and you've been planning your reveal for months, and you're so excited to share it with your fans? I'm going to take that from you so I can increase my Twitter followers. Number 3, there is a level of professionalism to expect from journalists, but they shouldn't be beholden to a publisher. This is news, not public relations. And number 4, all you journalists out there defending each other for this, take a step back and see the big picture here. A lot of you aren't any better. You don't consider the human element of sharing private information. You don't consider the public good when leaking it, and you do it for the same reason as these leakers. You love the attention and engagement, and you want to see those numbers go up the next time you live stream a podcast. Why are we lying to each other when we can all see the truth on the table? Let me know down below how you really feel. Like it if you liked it, subscribe if you loved it. And I'll be talking about this more on Monday's episode of the Camp Koji podcast, so be sure to tune in. Peace.